team at ViperUGC has been working hard on our 1v1 DEADROP game mode to be called Versus Proving Grounds that will eventually be built in DEADROP via UGC creative mode and all that. But in the meantime, as we wait for the map editor and UGC in general to expand, we've been working hard on original map designs that will be part of Versus Proving Grounds and building them out and testing them in Fortnite. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to take a look at 5 of our first maps, designs of our own that were inspired by the DEADROP universe, concept art, and so on, and we're going to show them to you guys. And actually, if you check down in the description, there are island codes so that if you play Fortnite, you can test these maps at any time. We held a public play session with some of the members of the DEADROP community. We really appreciate everybody who jumped in. We have a Discord. You can jump in, play the maps. It only takes 2 people. That's the beauty of a 1v1 game mode, and give us your feedback. But we're really happy with what we showed off and we have to play, so let's take a look. So the idea on this step of the ViperUGC journey behind building DEADROP maps, 1v1 maps in Fortnite, is not only to test our own designs in a way that we can quickly build these maps that have that DEADROP aesthetic and test them, test things like how much cover there is, how the maps move, how players actually traverse these maps and where they're fighting, that kind of thing. But we're also introducing the Fortnite creative community to DEADROP, and it hopes that some of those folks will in the long run understand what DEADROP is and then come over to DEADROP and create stuff over there too. So our Sector 1 map looks a lot like a sewer inspired by this concept art. This was designed by William Morris. He kind of started with this basic concept art of Sector 1 from back in the ARG days, and this one feels a lot like a true DEADROP playground. There's all sorts of zip lines, there's a hazard in the middle, some like toxic green sludge where if you run through it you take damage. There's a lot of verticality, several levels to this map. So our subway map is actually inspired by Sector 1 concept art, but 402 said that something from Sector 1 was moved to a different sector. We think that it may be the subway, that this may be appearing in what will become Sector 2. We're not positive, but it was inspired by concept art from Sector 1 from the DEADROP ARG. The way this map flows is it almost feels like a really interesting connected, almost like a maze where you can really chase each other through these subcars, but there's plenty of ways to kill each other. There's a little staircase to try to hold some position, chase each other through these train cars, jump down, and there's some really cool pieces of like atmosphere here. If you go towards the tunnel, you can actually hear bats in that tunnel. You can shoot out the windows on the train. It's a really cool effect. That's something we don't know if we're gonna do that in the final map when we build it in DEADROP, but in the Fortnite version at least, it's really cool and it's really fun. We've also kicked around the idea of, down the road, maybe we'll have actual trains that move through this map. Maybe at one point, in one round, the trains are in one position, maybe in another round, the trains are in a different position, or maybe they move and come through all together, and maybe you can get run over, who knows, but you get the idea. Our Sector 3 cold storage inspired map is also designed by I'm Mr. Spaceman and directly inspired by a piece of DEADROP concept art of Sector 3, which you're going to see on the screen. This one feels a little bit like a traditional three-lane map, built for 1v1 game mode, but there's the way you move through it, it's not just super easy to traverse. One side it's blocked off. You can climb up on the second level of the shelving here. We did some cool stuff with different colored lights on this one. There's like some red lighting on the walls. If you look up, there's some like refrigerator fans, and at the either end there's a hazard. Like there's this glass thing, like a glass wall that you can break off, and if you get pushed in there or you walk in there, if you get slid into and get kicked in there, it actually kills you due to extreme cold. By the way, we've kicked around the idea of having sector shutdown mechanics on our maps. Our game is a 1v1 round based game mode. That is the idea, something similar to gunfight in Call of Duty or something along those lines. There's other concepts of this idea, but we're considering, and we've got hazards on these Fortnite prototypes, but we're considering actual sector shutdown mechanics or roaming hazards to force players together if necessary in the future in our game. One of the principles that guides us in general, though, is to design maps that really leave no room for camping, no room for trying to hide. The point is to just put players 1v1 against each other and just fight, fight, fight. Our Sector 4 inspired map is the Alpha Lab. This was designed by OLab. And this map, again, harkens back to some DEADROP ARG concept art of a lab. That lab was associated with Sector 4. We think, again, based on concept art, that the Proving Ground 3 with the plane on it might be at least the start of Sector 4 in DEADROP. Again, we don't know how these things are going to figure together. The game's actively in development, but the lab concept art is really cool, and OLAP wanted to design a lab. And this one, to me, in a way, there's multiple tiers, there's server racks, there's a metal like ring around the map, and it just feels like the way this one plays is interesting because it is kind of like a box shape. It ends up feeling like a racetrack of players chasing each other, dodging in and out of cover, pulling themselves up, jumping down, and so on and so forth. And on this one, there's actually a little camera that we added. If a player runs near it, it will point a laser at them and point them out and make a little sound, which we thought was just a cool little touch, adding to that lab aesthetic, and kind of as a heads up for players who really understand the map and how it plays, to kind of know, okay, my opponent is on that side of the map. I can hear the camera making that sound to kind of point them out. We also have some explosive barrels on this one, kind of as a test to see how that idea worked. Then the final prototype that we have done in Fortnite is inspired by the Sector 5 concept art. This is the Foundry. This looks like an active like mining operation with lots of like molten metal, that kind of aesthetic, like a big industrial workshop. And we have, you know, like that molten metal on the bottom, and it's really like a long bridge design. And the point of this map is really to create those long, clean sight lines. It's ideal for sniping, and we really leaned into that industrial work zone idea. We've got cranes on the map and those kinds of things. It's a very simple design, but you can really move around it in various ways by pushing through across that middle bridge, trying to snipe from the kind of those little miniature bases on either side, or you know, do the little skill jump that I built in there that I'm so proud of myself for building. This map was designed by me, if I didn't already say it. And that's the idea with all of our maps, is to put players in different situations that they're going to experience in DEADROP. Some of our maps are going to be for close quarters combat, some are going to be ideal for sniping, and you know, all those ideas, it's just going to be like a quick round based, almost like a DEADROP trainer to get you right into the game, to focus on one opponent, the movement, the gunplay. That's the idea. Something you can pick up, play quickly, warm up, practice, move on. But we're obviously putting a lot of work into making some really great maps that are going to be fun to play in and of themselves. And we've already got at least, I believe, 3 other maps that are at least designed. We haven't built them in Fortnite yet, and we're kind of having discussions about where to go in the meantime. Should we keep sharing these maps with you guys? Let us know what you think down in the comments. If you want to see more, if you want us to hold another play session for the existing maps, all those types of things. But don't forget, the island codes are available now, and you can test them out whenever you want to. If you want more information and updates on ViperUGC and our DEADROP project versus Proving Grounds, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place documenting our journey, which will eventually culminate in building a 1v1 game in DEADROP versus Proving Grounds. Don't forget it. We're also going to be experimenting with Lua scripting in DEADROP Snapshot 7.5, so keep your eyes open for the ViperUGC name for versus Proving Grounds. We might put together, if we're able to, a working prototype of our game mode. We'll see what happens when the snapshot drops and what we're able to do. That's it, guys. Subscribe to the channel for further updates on ViperUGC and versus Proving Grounds, and we'll see you in the next video.